specialists. For instance, a doctor, an attorney, an accountant are very highly specialized people. These are also some of the smartest people around of these people here. On the B side, they're the business people. And a business person, a big business person, is different than a small business person. The world is filled with small business people. The problem with being a small business person is they cannot stop working. For instance, if I was a doctor, a medical doctor, I have to keep working to make money. Or if I ran, let's say, a restaurant, as a small business owner, I would still have to go to work every day, because if I stop working, the money stops also. So my rich dad pointed out to me, if I wanted to be rich, I needed to be a big business owner here. For example, there's many people in America who sell hamburgers or coffee, but they stay small because they can only have 1 or 2 shops. A big business owner is like McDonald's or Starbucks, where they have thousands of shops. So the mindset is different with these people. My rich dad pointed out to me that of all the people on earth, these are the richest in the world. This is Bill Gates, Anita Roddick, Richard Branson of Virgin Airways and all this. These are the richest. And I said the fourth type were investors. And again, they were different kinds of people. They had different minds, different emotions. So, it was my poor dad who always said to me, go to school and get a job. My poor dad in my family was programming me to become an employee. And I kept saying to my poor dad, I don't want a job. I want to learn to become rich. He goes, no, 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 no. No, become rich. Rich are evil. They're crooks, bad people. You know, very middle-class thinking. And I said, no, no, no. So my mother, she is a very nice person. She says to me, she says, Robert, I know you want to be rich. I said, yes. She says, if you want to be rich, and my mother was a medical nurse. So she says, in her world, as far as she could see, the richest people she knew were doctors, medical doctors. So she said to me, my poor mom said, why don't you become a medical doctor? And I said to my mom, there's only one problem with me becoming a medical doctor. She said, what's that? She said, I said, you have to be smart. And I'm not smart. She says, you have a very good point there, you know. You'll never go to doctor school. So then I talked to my rich dad, and my rich dad said, if you wanted to be rich, you had to become business owner, and you had to become investor. And then the kind of education I talk about is financial. Now, the basis of all financial education, the basic education you must have if you're going to be on this side, is you must be financially literate. In other words, there is financial IQ, and under financial IQ is financial literacy, and under financial literacy is financial words. So I'll put that down here. It begins with words, and then it goes to literacy, and then it goes to financial IQ here. The reason I say this is right now is this. If I wanted to be rich on this side, if I wanted to survive on this side, I needed to learn the words, the vocabulary. And the words to be successful here are not the same words over here. They're very different words. Having 2 dads, I realized my poor dad, being a school teacher, spoke the words of a school teacher. And I realized that my rich dad spoke the words of a rich man. So although both dads spoke English, they did not speak the same language. They did not use the same words. In Rich Dad, Poor Dad, in this book here, I go into the importance of financial literacy. And this is the basis of financial literacy. It is a financial statement. A financial statement is made of income, expense, assets, and liabilities. But my rich dad pulled me aside. He says, I want to tell you a big secret in life. My banker has never asked me for my report card yet. My banker doesn't care if I've had good grades. My banker wants to know, my banker wants to see my financial IQ. How smart am I financially? So in your country and in my country, when you go see your banker, the banker doesn't ask you your report card. Your banker wants to see your financial statement. So my rich dad said, what makes an asset a liability is this. He says the most important word for business people is the word cash flow. When your banker looks at your financial statement, the banker wants to say, which way is this cash flowing here? So my rich dad said to me, an asset, the definition, I was only 9 years old, he said very simply to me, assets are things that put money in your pocket, even if you don't work. Every day, assets will put money in your pocket without working. So he said, this is the cash flow pattern of an asset. It's flowing money from the asset column into your income column. So my rich dad said there are 3 basic asset classes. 1 is a business. 2 is paper assets like stocks and bonds. And the 3rd asset class is real estate. Okay? So those assets are flying in there. But he also said that a liability is something that takes money from your pocket whether you work or not. So let's say I buy a house. This is a house. Let's say I buy a house, I live in this house, and every month that money flows out of my pocket. That house is then a liability, not an asset. But if I rent the house out, that house becomes an asset. Let's say I buy a business, and I manage my business. Let's say I buy a restaurant. I manage the restaurant really well. Every month that restaurant puts money in my pocket, that restaurant is an asset. But let's say I mismanage the restaurant. No customers come in. Every month I lose money from that thing. So that same restaurant is a liability. So what my rich dad taught me very on is that these things are just things. Whether or not they're assets or liability depends upon me. It is my financial IQ. So this is the basic education over here. Most people go to school, get themselves a job, and they start making money, and money comes in and money goes out. When a banker looks at your financial statement, they're looking at here, this cash flow pattern is a cash flow pattern of a poor person. What happens to the middle class people in America, why they're having a hard time, is they spend more than they make. So what they do instead is the first thing they do is buy a big house when they get married, and what they have on the liability column is a word called mortgage. Again, going back to the importance of words and the definition of words, the definition of the word mortgage comes from the French word mortier, which means death. So what mortgage means is engaged until you're dead, in debt. So what is happening to the average American, and it's going to start happening in this country, in China, is people will get deeper and deeper in debt because they want to spend more than they make. So they borrow, borrow, borrow. I am not against borrowing money, but don't borrow money for liabilities. So after they buy the mortgage, the nice house, they buy themselves a BMW or Mercedes, then they have nice furniture, and then they have credit card debt because they go on holiday to Japan or Disneyland or wherever you go. So this here is then the cash flow pattern of the middle class. And that's about 50% of Americans. They look like they have money, they have a high-paying job, but they're deeply in debt because they spend more than they make. So that's why I say money doesn't make you rich. If you want to be rich, the thing that has to happen is you have to buy assets. Either you build a business, you buy stocks or bonds, or you buy real estate. So when I read a financial statement in a split second, like a banker, I can see that this person here is a rich person. And the reason they're rich is because they don't have a job, and the money is flowing from assets every day. So the reason I get richer and richer is because I can only work so hard. There's only so many hours in a day I can work. But I get richer and richer because I just keep buying more and more assets here, or building more and more assets. So my income or cash flow goes up, but I don't work any harder. And so what's happening is that the cash flow goes this way, this way, this way, this way. And what you're looking at here is why the rich get richer, the poor get poor, and the middle class get middle class. So oftentimes people ask me this question. They say, so do you recommend buying stocks? Is it real estate? Should I go into business? They want me to tell them what to do. And what I try to tell people, it's not what I do, it's what I know. And what I'm giving people here is what I know. Let me give you an example. Let's say I buy a restaurant. My chances of getting rich from buying that restaurant are pretty good, because I've had education and I've had experience. I've made a lot of mistakes, so I have experience. The person who just went to school, let's say they have no financial education and no experience. They take that same restaurant and they go broke. Well, let's say they buy real estate. I buy a piece of real estate, I get richer because I know. It's not what I do, it's what I know. Whereas a person who with not the same education, they buy the same real estate and they go broke. So what I try to say to people, before you do anything, find out what you need to know. What I have found out, there are people with a poor mindset, a middle-class mindset, and a rich mindset. And all I'm trying to do is not tell you what to do, I'm trying to tell you what to know and how to think. And it's how you think that makes you rich. Because today in China, when people say, oh, I cannot see any opportunities in China, the reason you cannot see opportunities is because, let's say you're investing in a business. If you're going to invest in a business, investing in business requires a different set of words. If you're going to buy stocks, it's going to take a different set of words. And if you're going to invest in real estate, it takes a different set of words. So what my rich dad had me do was, after I had the basic financial education down here, then he said to me, you must learn the words of business owners. You must learn the vocabulary of stocks. You must learn the vocabulary of real estate. Because the moment you have the words in your head, you will see money everywhere. But if you do not have the words, you will never see it. China today is the fastest growing country in the world. Not only is it the fastest growing country in the world, it is the youngest major country in the world. Japan has gone down because the old guys are old. There's a saying in America, the world will not change until the old men die, like me. You know? So the strength that China has is you have the highest growth rate right now. You also have a young population. In the next 10 years, you will become, in my opinion, the richest country in the world. And you're in the best place at the best time. I commend you for being brilliant, brilliant students. And I wish you the best of luck for the future. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. And it's the first game in the world that teaches people how to read a financial statement, how to put one together. And to make it fun, I made this game board here this way. So this game here I will show you is real life. This here is the rat race, they call it in America. It is the trap. You get up, go to work, get up, go to work, get up, go to work, get up, go to work. That's this pattern here. You get up, pay bills, get up, pay bills. That's this one here. So the reason there are two, this is the poor and middle class, and this is the rich. In America, these are the facts. There are investments for the poor and middle class, and there's investments for the rich. One of the reasons the rich get richer is because they have the best investments in the world. But according to the U.S. government law, or the Securities and Exchange Commission, since 1935, to invest up here in America by law, you must be a millionaire. That's a lot of money. Less than 1% of the U.S. population can invest up here. Everybody else is stuck down here. One of the reasons I wanted to become a millionaire was because I wanted to invest up here so I could get rich faster. So it took me a long time to become a millionaire, but it took me very quickly to make 10 to 100 million up here. But I had to pay the price, pay the dues of learning how to fill this out here so I could talk to these people up here and all this stuff. So I created this game as close to real life. It, for most people, is a hard game because it teaches you to think more in terms of assets versus high-paying job here. Over here, high-paying job counts. Over here, assets count. So I recommend you play it 10 to 12 times. It'll change your mindset. Your financial IQ will go up. And once your financial IQ goes up, you will manage your money better. And it'll make you a better investor, whether it's businesses, stocks, or real estate. So it's a very basic game. And after you've mastered the game, then I recommend you teach to other people. If you really want to learn, you should be like my poor dad. Teaching is the best way to learn. So you teach your stupid friends how to become rich, you know. When I played this game with my banker for 6 hours went and the reason my banker stayed 6 hours in here is because my banker is an employee. He doesn't think like a business owner or investor. So the purpose of this game was to change the way you think, but it also teaches you the words and the vocabulary and the numbers of financial IQ. So that's basically what I have to say. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, or if I'm out of time, I'm glad to. So thank you for your time.
刚才罗伯特先生呢已经提到了他这个 Cash Flow Game 这个游戏，正好呢凤凰网站有一个叫做澡盆里的鱼，这个网友呢他正好有个提问跟这个游戏有关系，他是这样问的：我试着玩过抢手和大富豪，这些游戏充分显示了富人在投资中是怎样干的，但大多数玩者就像我一样，并没有在自己的生活中真正变成富人。它除了增加我们不切实际的财富梦想和纯粹的娱乐之外，并不能给我们关于经济生活的任何指导和帮助。我听说清崎先生设计了一个 Cash Flow Game 这样的一个现金流游戏，所以我就怀疑它是不是跟我曾经玩过的抢手和大富豪一样好玩而不实用。请清崎先生回答。
I'd be very happy to give some comments to that one. First of all, this game here, Cash Flow, is more sophisticated. It's a little bit harder to learn. But I am not going to comment on the games. I'm going to talk about this person's mindset. The most important thing to becoming rich is, do you have a mindset to want to become rich? The reason I say that is this, is because I wanted to become rich. When I played Monopoly, I was 9 years old. The greatest formula for wealth is found on that board game. If you want to be rich, I learned to be rich playing Monopoly because I wanted to become rich. This gentleman here is a cynic. He says, well, I'm skeptical, I'm cynical, I don't trust you. He will have a hard time becoming rich because cynics, they may be more accurate in the world, but they're less happy and less successful. Okay? I will give you the formula for great wealth, and it is found on the board game Monopoly. When I was 9 years old, my poor dad, the school teacher, said, put the game away, study, study, study. You're wasting your time playing Monopoly. And my rich dad said, the formula, you must open your mind and see the formula right on Monopoly. He said, it's right in front of you. And I went, what's the formula? And finally I learned the formula is 4 greenhouses, red hotel. 4 greenhouses, red hotel. Today I'm a rich man because all I ever did since the time I was 24 years old is buy 4 greenhouses, sell them all, buy a red hotel. 4 greenhouses, red hotel. It is not, you do not have to go to school to become rich. Just play Monopoly. 4 greenhouses, red hotel. That is it. Now, in cash flow, so I want to say this much. That gentleman who asked that question, the reason he cannot see is because he doesn't trust. And that is very important in my world to become rich, because you must trust. You must look at how people before you have become rich. Do not talk to poor people. Poor people will tell you, oh, it's too risky. Don't do that. Don't take risks. Save your money. Play safe. That is a poor person's mindset. You must have open mindset. Open. And if you have an open mindset, you will learn from everything. If you have a closed mindset, you will learn from nothing. So I look out right now here, I can see some of you have open mindsets, big. Some of you want to learn. I can see in your eyes. You want to be rich. Some of you are going, he's lying to me. He's lying to me. I don't like him. I don't trust him. It has nothing to do with what I say. It has to do with the mindset here. So this board game here is more sophisticated. It is harder. And for people with, oh, it is not the truth. It is too cynical. I do not trust him. You will not learn anything. Don't buy it. But if you want to learn, you will learn from everything. So I can see in your eyes whether you will learn or not learn. So I think that is the most important thing. I have found out the difference between a poor person and a rich person is by what they think. A poor person will always say, oh, that's too expensive. I cannot afford it. That is a poor person's mindset. If you say, oh, I cannot do that, that is a poor person's mindset. Oh, it's too risky. Poor person's mindset. My rich dad said, never, ever, ever say I can't afford something. Instead of, because that's poor people. You can have a lot of money, but oh, I can't afford it. You're poor. If you want to be rich, don't say how I can't afford it. Say, how can I afford it? You say you cannot afford it, your mind closes. You say, how can I afford it? Your mind opens. Does that make sense here? So what you want is a mindset. I have never said I can't afford something. I say, how can I afford it and why do I need to afford it? It opens my mind up. Poor people say, oh, cheap, cheap, cheap. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Save, save, save. Work hard, work hard, work hard. Peace, peace, peace. Save, 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 save.
好，现在让我们把我们的头脑给 open 开，然后听一听下一个网友的问题。这位网友叫天外来客。我不知道罗伯特听说没听说过这样一种说法，说人生有4大享受，如果这4个东西一个人都有的话，这个人就是幸福的。
Yes.
这个4大享受的第一个享受就是 American salary， 要有美国的工资。
No, I don't have a salary. I've only had a job 4 years of my life. I don't want a salary. Ladies and gentlemen.
罗伯特先生的意见是，如果要做富人，就不要工资。如果要工资的话，就是 middle class。
No, I don't want this. I will show you difference. I will show you the big difference here. I don't want this. The middle class and poor, what they want is high income. They think they want money, but they have no wealth because they have no assets. You must know the difference between money and wealth because they're not the same things. Money will never make you rich. This makes you rich. I have large companies. I have lots of stocks. I trade options. I have real estate. That's what makes me rich. So that money just comes in whether I work or not. Bill Gates only makes $500,000 a year. That's all. I make more than him. That's all he makes. But he's worth $20 billion. I'm trying to tell you there is a very big difference between income and money and wealth. So I have spent my life buying assets, businesses, stocks, real estate. That's what makes you rich. Not a job. The reason the rich in America get richer is they pass this on to their kids. My poor dad always said, high-paying job, high-paying job, high-paying job. And my rich dad said, assets, assets, assets. That's the difference.
那看样子人生的第一大享受 American salary 是一个过时的观念。那第二大享受呢，就是 British house， 要有英国那么大的房子。
I have very big house. I love my house. Yes. And I have 5 cars. Porsche, Mercedes. I get Ferrari next and all that. I like nice cars. I have beautiful wife. I'm very happy. Nice house.
第三大享受呢是这个 Chinese food， 好像
Yes.
啊，这几天你已经吃到了。第4大享受呢，是你一定要在这辈子娶一个 Japanese wife。
What? Did he say Japanese wife?
但是您是一个日本人的后代，但是确实娶了一个美国太太。
你刚刚讲到 assets， 但是每个就是财产都有它的投资回报率，就是短期，好比说他希望短期内暴富，或者希望长时间投资，就是大概这一个过程嘛，就是他整个这一个过程。
Let me answer one question, okay? First of all, that man over there is going to be a very rich man. No, I can see in his eyes. No. You pretty girls should go talk to him, okay? No, he is hungry to learn. You know what? No, let me say, okay? If I was learning Chinese, I come over here. I'm only going to be in Beijing 4 days. So when somebody tries to teach me Chinese, I go, why should I learn? I'm only going to be here 4 days. But if I was to move here, I would say, I have to learn, I have to learn, I have to learn. Does that make sense to you? So he has, I have to learn, I have to learn, I have to learn. It is not what I can teach him. Most important is he has to learn, he has to learn. And that's why he'll be rich. The same thing when I was on the business owner investment side, since I was never going to have a job, I had to learn, I had to learn, I had to learn. Okay? So the most important investment you can make is in your education. To answer your question on return on investment, when you're young and you have no experience and no money, it takes a lot of money and a lot of risk to make a little money. But if you have, I want to learn, I want to learn, I want to learn, and you get older and you gain experience and education, it takes no money and no risk to make a lot of money. But you have to want to learn first. So, when people ask me today, what is my ROI, is in 1974 when I left the Marine Corps, I knew I was never going to be over here. Never. I would never get a job. Never, 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 never. So since I knew I was never going to be over here and I was going to move over here, I had to learn differently. I had to learn. I had to learn. I had to learn a whole other language. That'd be like me, being over here in America, saying, well, I don't need to learn Chinese. I don't need to learn Chinese. But if I moved to Beijing, I'd have to learn. And so moving from here to here is like learning a whole other language. And that's what I'm trying to say. I said earlier, the rich, or the language of money is different than the language of these people here. That's why these people don't talk to these people a lot of the time. So what I see in him is he wants to learn over here. If you want to say, all I want is a job, all I want is a job, I want a high-paying salary, you stay over here. But if you move over here, you have to learn. Now, the good news here is this. On this side, your income is limited. And the reason it's limited is because you have to work. I have to work. If I'm a doctor, I have to work. If I'm a teacher, I have to work. But over here, your income is unlimited. Because over here, my money works for me, or other people work for me, or my systems work for me, or I hire these people to work for me. So I can own 7 companies over here. Over here, I can work for 1 company, maybe 2 at the most. So when you want to learn, you have to learn a new language here. 5 weeks ago, I put up no money, and I made $5,000 US in 3 minutes. So I put up no money, no risk. It took me 3 minutes to talk to my broker, and I made $5,000 US. What is my rate of return?
Your rate of return is infinite.
Yes, thank you. Give him a hand. Very good here. It is infinite. This is the point I want to make, is that the power to become rich is here. This young man wants to know the question. If he keeps asking the question, he will find it. Some of you are saying it can't be done. And the future depends upon you, not upon me. And that is the most important lesson. I've already given you the best I can give you. So that's what I'd like to say. Thank you very much.
在节目马上就要结束之前呢，我要让您用一句话回答我一个问题，就是您刚才讲金钱不一定使我们致富，能不能用一句话告诉我，到底什么能使我们致富
This.
Thinking， 金钱呢未必使我们致富，但是呢，使我们致富的关键呢，应该是好的财务知识的教育。好，谢谢大家，谢谢罗伯特。